Go into an old house sometime, one built before the war, and run your hand along the walls, and you will find things there you cannot explain. A little door set into the wall by the front step that opens onto nothing. A strip of molding running high around the parlor for no reason you can see. A small window up above a doorway. A cool little room dug down under the kitchen. And you will wonder, what was all this for? I will tell you what it was for. Every one of those things was somebody solving a problem, cleverly, with no electric and no machine, in a time when a house had to work by its own design, or not at all. And near every one of them has faded clean out of the world, not because it stopped working, but because somebody found a way to sell us a machine to do the same job and charge us every month to run it. I am Earl Dean. Today I am going to walk you through 15 old home features that have faded into history, and what each one was really for. Sit with me a while. One thing before I begin. There is far more of this old know-how than fits in any one video, so I gathered the whole of it into a book at my website, earldeanbook.com, for the folks who want the long version. 99 methods, all in one place. I will not mention it again. If you want it, you know where to look. Now, the 15. Number 15. The icebox. Before there was an electric refrigerator humming in every kitchen, there was the icebox, and it was a clever thing. A wooden cabinet with walls built hollow, and packed with cork or sawdust or straw for insulation, lined inside with tin or zinc. You set a great block of ice in the top compartment, and the cold air from that ice sank down, the way cold air does, and kept the food in the lower shelves cool. The iceman came round twice a week with a fresh block held in his tongs. It ran on no power at all, just the ice, and the plain fact that cold falls. And here's the thing. When the power goes out today, your fine electric refrigerator becomes an expensive box of spoiling food, and the old icebox would have carried right on, so long as the iceman came. Number 14. The transom window. That little window set up above the door in an old house or an old hotel, the one folks never understand now. It was there for the air. Before there was air conditioning, a house had to breathe. And that little window up high could be tilted open with a long rod, and it let the hot air that gathers near the ceiling escape out into the hall and pulled cooler air in below, all while the door itself stayed shut and locked for privacy. It cooled a room, and it kept your business your own, both at once, on no power. We sealed them all up when the machines came, and forgot a house ever needed to breathe. Number 13. The parlor. In the old days, a house had a parlor, the best room, the one kept shut and clean and ready. It was where you received a guest, where you set out your finest furniture, and the family Bible, where the important things of a life happened, the weddings and the christenings, and yes, the laying out of the dead before the funeral. It was kept closed, when not in use, so it would stay just so. Over the years, as the television came in and life got less formal, that best room turned into what we now call the living room, the room we live in every day, and something of the ceremony of a home went out when the parlor did. Number 12. The washstand, the basin and pitcher. Before running water came indoors, near every bedroom had a washstand, a little table or cabinet of good wood that held a china basin and a tall pitcher. At night, the pitcher was filled, and of a morning a person washed their face and hands in that basin before the day began. It was the whole of your plumbing, carried by hand, and it did the job for centuries. When the pipes came inside and the sink arrived, the basin and pitcher became a decoration, and then they disappeared, and now you only see them in an antique shop and wonder what they were. Number 11. The coal chute. In an old house, you will sometimes find a little metal door set low in the foundation wall, with an angled tunnel behind it running down into the basement. That was the coal chute. The coal truck came, and the man tipped the week's coal right down that chute into a bin in the cellar, next to the furnace, and there are cellars to this day, with the walls still stained black from it. It saved a body from hauling the coal bucket by bucket through the house. When the furnaces changed over to oil and gas and electric, The chute had no more use, and most got bricked up, a little sealed door to a room that is not there anymore. Let me stop a moment here for the first pause. Look at these first few: the icebox, the transom, the washstand, the coal chute. Every one of them was a house doing a job by its own clever design, with no motor and no monthly bill. And everyone faded when a machine came along to do that job instead. A machine you buy. A machine that breaks. A machine you pay to run. I am not against the machines. Mind, running water indoors is a blessing, and I would not give it up. But I want you to notice the pattern, because it is the thread through this whole thing. We did not lose these because they failed. We lost them because there was money in replacing them. Number 10. Knob and tube wiring. When electricity first came into houses, this was how they wired it. Single copper wires run through the walls, held away from the wood by little porcelain knobs and tubes so they would not touch and spark. It was cheap and it was clever for its day. But it had no ground wire for safety, and it could not carry the load of all the things we plug in now, and so it was rightly replaced with safer, modern wiring. This is one, I will be honest, that we are better off without. Not every old thing was wiser than the new. Some of the old ways were let go because the new way was truly safer. And a man who tells you everything old was better is selling you something. This one earned its retirement. Number 9. The milk door. Here is a charming one. In many an old house, there is a little two-sided door built into the wall by the entry, insulated, with a door on the outside and a door on the inside. That was the milk door. The milkman, coming round in the early morning, opened the outside door and set the day's bottles of fresh milk in the little cubby, and the family took them from the inside, without anybody having to open the house to the cold or the weather. It kept the milk safe from animals and from thieves, and it kept it cool till the family rose. A small kindness, built right into the wall, from a time when your milk came to your door, and not from a store. Number 8. The butler's pantry. In the larger old homes, between the kitchen and the dining room, there was a room called the butler's pantry. It was where the good china and the silver and the big serving dishes were kept, and where the meal was set out and readied before it went to the table. The silver was polished there and counted there, and in some grand houses the butler even slept there to guard the silver through the night. Most folks never had a house grand enough for one, but the idea of it, a place to ready the meal and keep the good things, that lived on humbler in every family's china cabinet and Sunday dishes. Number 7. The dumbwaiter. In a tall house, a dumbwaiter was a little elevator, no bigger than a cupboard, run up and down between the floors on ropes and pulleys by hand. It carried the things too heavy or too many to carry up the stairs, the meals from the kitchen up to the dining floor, the laundry down to the wash, the coal and the wood. A body pulled the rope, and up it went. It saved an old woman's knees and a servant's back 100 trips a day. You still find them in some old restaurants and grand old houses, most of them stilled now, a little door in the wall that once did the work of many legs. Before I go on to the last 6, let me pause again. Every home has its leaks. The heat slipping out, the food going to waste, the water, the electric, the things that break and get bought twice. These old houses were built, in their way, to have fewer of those leaks, to work with the seasons and the hours instead of against them. In my savings manual, I gather up the best of that old thinking. 99 methods for running a household lean and close, the way these old houses were meant to be run. The link is down in the description. Now, the last 6. Number 6. The picture rail. In an old parlor, run your eye up near the ceiling, and you will often see a strip of molding running all the way round the room. That is the picture rail, and it was a clever thing. Instead of driving a nail into the plaster wall every time you wished to hang a picture, and cracking and pocking that good plaster all up, you hung your pictures on hooks and wires down from that rail. You could move a picture, or hang a new one, or rearrange the whole wall, and never once put a hole in the plaster. It kept the walls whole, and it looked handsome besides. We drive our nails and our screws right into the wall now and patch the holes when we move, and never think there was a better way. But there was, and it is right there near the ceiling of every old house. Number 5, the sleeping porch. Before air conditioning, folks in the hot country had a screened porch, often up on the second floor, that they slept on through the summer nights. The whole family would carry the beds out there when the weather turned hot, and sleep in the cool moving night air behind the screens, safe from the bugs, while the house itself sat too hot to sleep in. It was how a family got through a southern July before there was a machine to do it. Doctors even recommended it in the day for the health of sleeping in fresh air. We shut ourselves up in sealed rooms now and run the machine all night, and the sleeping porch, where a family once lay listening to the crickets, has mostly rotted away or been glassed in and forgotten. Number 4, the root cellar. Dug down into the cool of the ground or into a hillside, the root cellar was the finest food keeper a family could have. A few feet down, the earth holds steady, cool and a little damp, near 50 to 60 degrees the year round. And in that cool, a family kept its potatoes and onions and turnips and apples, and the jars of everything put up in the summer, right through the winter, with no electric and no cost at all. A good cellar held hundreds of pounds of food, and like the icebox, it did not care one whit whether the power was on. Through every storm and every blackout, the root cellar kept right on keeping, because it ran on nothing but the steady cool of the earth itself. Number 3, the pie safe and the screen box cooler. Before the icebox even, and alongside it, a kitchen had a pie safe, a cupboard with doors of punched tin or screen that let the air move through to keep bread and pies and such from molding while keeping the flies off. And out on the shaded porch, a family might keep a screen box cooler, a little cabinet with screen sides and a pan of water up top and cloth wicking the water down its sides. So the breeze passing through and the water slowly drying off, it kept the inside cooler than the air, cool enough to keep the butter and the milk a while. A refrigerator that ran on a breeze and a bucket of water. The old folks understood how to keep a thing cool without a motor, and we have forgotten every bit of it. Number 2, the boot scraper. A small thing, this, but I am fond of it. Set by the front step of many an old house is a little iron blade fixed in the ground, or fastened to the porch, a boot scraper. In a time before paved roads and paved walks, a body came up to the house with his boots caked in the mud and the muck of the road and the barnyard, and he scraped them clean on that iron blade before he ever set foot in the house, so as not to track the filth across his wife's clean floor. It says something about how much harder a clean floor was to come by then, and how much it was valued, that a house had a tool built right into its doorstep just for the keeping of it. And number 1, the summer kitchen. This is the one I most wish we had kept. In the old days, many a farmhouse had a whole second kitchen, set apart from the house, sometimes in its own little building out back. And in the heat of summer, all the hot work, the cooking, the canning, the putting up of the harvest, moved out to that summer kitchen, because a wood stove going all day in July would turn the whole house into an oven you could not sleep in. By moving the fire out of the house, they kept the house itself cool and livable through the hottest months, and did all their hot, sweaty labor out in the separate building where the heat did no harm. Think on the sense in that. They did not cool the house with a machine. They simply kept the heat out of it in the first place, by putting the fire somewhere else. That is the whole of the old wisdom in one idea, and we tore the summer kitchens down and put the fire back in the house and bought a machine to fight the heat we made. Now, let me say the honest part, the way I always do. Not every one of these should come back. The knob and tube wiring was rightly retired, and I would not trade my indoor plumbing for a basin and a pitcher, and I am glad the Iceman does not have to haul a block up my steps twice a week. Some of the old ways were let go for good reason, and I will never tell you otherwise. But a great many of these faded not because they failed, but because a machine got sold in their place, and we forgot the house could ever do the job itself. The transom that cooled a room, the root cellar that kept food through any blackout, the summer kitchen that kept the heat out instead of fighting it, the picture rail that spared the walls. Those were not primitive. Those were wise, and the wisdom in them still works. if we trouble to remember it. So here is what I want you to do this week. If you live in an old house, go looking. Find the sealed-up coal chute, the little milk door, the picture rail near the ceiling, and now you will know what they were for. And if you live in a new one, borrow one idea from the old. Sleep with the windows open to the night air. Keep the potatoes in the coolest, darkest corner you have. Cook outdoors on the hottest day so as not to heat the house. Just one. And do it where your children can see, and tell them how the old houses worked, because that is how this knowledge comes back. Tell me in the comments what old features your own house has, or your grandmother's did, that I did not name here. The laundry chute, the cistern, the ice house, whatever quiet cleverness is built into the old place you know. Because those things get torn out and forgotten the moment nobody remembers what they were for. I read every single one. Next time, since we have been walking through the old house, I am going to show you how the old folks did their whole wash with no electric machine at all. The wringer, the washboard, the line in the sun, and how it saved them a fortune and made the clothes last longer besides. It is the natural next step after today. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Keep the simple things close. They were never half so foolish as they looked. I am Earl Dean. I will see you next time.